Hey everyone, my name is Svetlana Chernienko and I'm a mental health advocate from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And I want to start off by saying I'm so excited to be here with Jack.org and all of you for the National Summit. And this topic, being undivided, could not suit me anymore. But before I jump into that and talk to you, I really want to share with you my story about what led me to becoming a mental health advocate, what journey in my life. So when I was 15 years old, I was in an abusive relationship and I was with that person till I was about 21 years old and we had a child together. There was so much abuse that was happening at that time and I was young, I didn't know what to do. I thought it was love and then I was embarrassed, I was hiding it. There was so many ups and downs from me being abused, abducted, trying to take my own life. There was so much I was going through and I didn't know what was wrong at the time. I didn't realize that I was suffering with mental illness. I had no idea. It wasn't until the time that I tried to take my own life and I went to the hospital is when I sat down with a psychologist and with a psychiatrist. They both came in to speak to me and the psychiatrist chose to take my file and was talking to me about everything and told me, Svetlana, you suffer with PTSD, generalized anxiety, and manic depression. After that abusive relationship, I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was having nightmares. What even would lead me into wanting to take my own life? I didn't quite understand these things. And all of a sudden, it was a ton of bricks, but it also gave me so much clarity because I was trying to hide that life of mine that I had. I was modeling, going through abuse, making excuses. And I didn't know what to do because I was so young and I had been in it since I was so young. So throughout my life, I was on this journey of getting help, going through seeing therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, being on medication, trying to understand the new normal that was going to be my life. And through this whole journey and of my life and coming to this stage of being a mental health advocate has been the most rewarding and important thing that I've done in my whole entire life. When I was modeling, I truly did not know what I wanted to do. I just felt that being a model, I wasn't giving back and doing enough for the community, and I wanted to impact people. I wanted to create change and I wanted to start somewhere. So in 2016, I was raising money for a domestic abusive shelter, and I shared my story on national television about having mental illness and being open about it and wanting to be that change. And that was my moment that I realized that I was becoming a mental health advocate. So I just wanted to get you all started in understanding that for me being a mental health advocate, I stopped a very great career that I had as a model and I dove right into being a mental health advocate. I had so many other things that were happening in my life and I just wasn't feeling fulfilled and I was going through so many ups and downs in my life and I was like, I just want to be able to share my journey with people as a mother, as a woman, had gone through so many challenges at a young age. I wanted to be able to have that resonate with everybody. Doesn't matter what age, doesn't matter what gender. I just wanted that my story would impact other people and be able to be heard and seen because a lot of us don't feel like we're heard and we're seen. So being a mental health advocate for me is so important and being undivided. And I found that even when speaking about mental health advocacy, when I started sharing my story about mental illness, there was so much division out there and we're already so divided when it comes to so many things in this world. And I just couldn't wrap my head around. There was segregation from sexual orientation, or it was the color of your skin, or man, woman. There was so much just disconnection when sharing. And I felt that there was so much stigma of me opening up about my story, about living with mental illness. But I felt that everything that I had gone through in my life and I stood up for, I wasn't letting anybody take me down. I wanted to be able to share my story, my truth, my vulnerability, who I am, so that it would touch someone to say, you know what, I got this, I can do this. And for me, I look at the world. We have so much beauty. However, we still find each other just with so much division. And now in the times that we're in, we need to be coming together. We need to be having these discussions about mental health and how to help one another. And it saddens me that there's so much stigma and there's so much division when it comes to the mental health community. My goal is to always to bring everybody together. Anyone who knows me knows that I always just want to bring community together. I want there to be love, light, and laughter. So I work hard on the unification of everyone. I work extremely hard to bring people together. I do it in my own family with my children. You know, I'm a mother of 4. I have children from the ages of 6 to 23, and I have 3 boys and a girl. I have a queer son, and I see so many things that go on. I have a transgender sister, and I watch what she goes through with the division of everything that's happening in this world. And it breaks my heart because we need to stand together. We need to come together. We need to be able to share each other's experiences and stories without judgment and stay together closely. So being here today and having this discussion with you about mental health and mental health advocacy and standing together and being undivided is so important to me. It is the core of everything that I have worked for. It is the core of everything of who I am. I have always wanted to be that change that I wanted to see. And that's why I use my social media platform to show my story, to share my journey, and show that we're all human beings. We should all come together. There should be no division by what color your skin is, how dark you are, your sexual orientation, you know, your gender, it's not about that. We're all human beings. We all go through pain. We all feel the same things. And this journey, let me tell you, it has been a rocky road. Sharing my truth, sharing who I am and what I've gone through. You know, people see me, I on my platform, I do things on television to contribute to the news, and I take that contribution very seriously because my part as being a mental health advisor for the news is to share my journey, but to share other people's journey and to talk about the stigmas and to be able to bring everyone together and understand that mental illness doesn't segregate anyone. It doesn't matter what gender, what color, who you are. It really doesn't just say, well, I'm going to pick you. It can be anyone. It can affect anyone. And one of the communities that I found that had a lot of division besides the Black community was the LGBTQ plus community. Now, it was really important for me, not only because I have a queer son, it's because of how I grew up. I had an uncle who raised me, and at a very young age, he wanted me to know what homosexuality was. He wanted me to know about the LGBTQ plus community at that time when I was growing up. I was really young. And he really impacted my life in a very positive way because he opened me up to so many things that maybe I wouldn't have been opened up to. And that also came to play because of my mother working at the time in the fashion industry. And I had an opportunity to learn more. And growing up, I wound up having so many friends in the LGBTQ plus community. I have a trans sister, and I started realizing that there was a lot of mental health issues that we weren't dealing with in the LGBTQ plus community. And at the time, I identified more as heterosexual. That's who I felt that I was. And growing up and evolving, I realized that there was more to me than that one-dimensional side as I got older. And I wanted to be able to create impact and understand why was this division there? Why were so many people in the LGBTQ plus community suffering with mental health issues and no one wanted to hear them? And that was one of the moments that I realized that most of my work would be really well reciprocated and impactful in the LGBTQ plus community. Now I have my best friend that I took with me to Pride, New York, and we had such a great time because it was during Stonewall. And I really saw my whole family, everybody coming together in the community. And so many people just through the years have shared with me their stories, their journeys, their struggles, especially a lot of my trans brothers and sisters that were either left to fend for themselves, they were on their own, they were the black sheep of their families. And that's the reason why they went through so many mental health issues, the abuse that they went through, being who they were, just for being themselves. So that for me was a community that I needed to be a part of, and I needed to be able to create change, because there's so many people out there that live with mental illness. But for me, I was gravitated to two communities, the Black community and the LGBTQ plus community, because that for me, I understood being biracial, having a Black father and a white mother, Russian, African American. There was a lot, because on the Russian side, it doesn't exist having mental illness. You cannot have it. And on the Black side, African American, African lineage, oh no, you can't have it. We're not having this discussion. There was always this division about mental health and mental illness, and there's always shame. That's really why I'm here today. Is mental health advocacy is my life's work. It's my passion. It gets me emotional because I have put so much into being this to create change for your generation, my children's generation, for my generation to understand that your generation sometimes just, you need an ear, you need us to listen and understand, and get you the help without judgment and be supportive. I believe that if we can all come together and have a better conversation and open up about mental health and stop stigmatizing one another, we can come together, we can unify, and we can be so much stronger. And there's nothing to be embarrassed about having mental health issues, having mental illnesses. I was asked a question a couple of months ago, do I regret what I've gone through, and do I hate having mental illnesses? And my answer will always be, because I had to really think about that, I'm proud of who I am, and it's taken me a while to get here. And I'm proud of what I went through. As difficult as it was, there was a purpose for me. There was a reason why I went through what I went through. Am I ashamed of having mental illness? If you would have asked me this 8 years ago, I would have said yes, because of the stigma, because of the division, because of always being segregated, feeling like I was wearing that scarlet letter. Now I'm proud to be an advocate, and I'm proud to be who I am. And my mental illness has made me who I am. It has taught me resilience, courage, and strength that I've never known in my life. So hearing me today, I really want you to have a strong takeaway that you have the power to bring people together. You have the power to create change. You have the ability to be the change that you want to see by sharing your story, your vulnerability, your truth, and your strength. You can't make everyone happy, and sometimes you're going to get judged for it. The best way that I found doing it is creating a community such as Jack.org, having this amazing community to be able to share stories. You can create communities to be able to do that, to raise awareness, to share your journey. I believe that the youth is our future. I know that the youth is our future. And I know that all of you have it in you to have the courage and strength to do what it takes to help so many people that are in the darkness come into the light and share their journeys and their stories without judgment or criticism about what it is to live with mental illness. Look at me. I never thought that I would be doing the things that I'm doing today. Because when I was going through the abuse and I felt alone and I felt like I was in the darkness and living this internal lie of not being happy, and I always felt like I just didn't fit anywhere. Now I'm here and I'm sharing my story and I'm impacting people, and I'm here talking to all of you. The one piece of advice I would give all of you is believe in yourself. That just believe in who you are, and don't let anybody taint that, or don't let anybody tell you that you're not worth anything because of your mental illness. Your mental illness can be a beautiful thing. It's just in a matter of how you look at it. And to me, my mental illness doesn't define me, but it has made me who I am. So thank you all for having me here. Thank you all for listening to my story. in my journey with mental illness and the advocacy work. And let's come together, let's unify, let's make our voices stronger and heard, because it's enough. We've all lived through so much pain. It's now time to come together and be undivided and create the difference and be the change that we all want to see. So thank you all for having me. À tout à l'heure. Thank you.